From Central Indiana's #1 news source, this is Fox 59 Tonight.
Hey, good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Fox 59 Tonight. I'm Cameron Riddle. Thank you for downloading our new Smart TV app on your Roku, Fire TV, Samsung TV, and on your Apple TV device. And if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you never miss the conversations we're having every night at 8 o'clock here on Fox 59 Tonight. On the show today, we'll continue our conversation about education. There are so many different terms out there. There's private schools, there's township schools, there's traditional schools, there's charter schools, there's innovation schools, there's autonomous schools. What does it all mean? It is confusing for a lot of you out there, and over the past couple of weeks, we've tried to provide some clarity and some insight of to what these different schools are, what they mean, what do they have in common, what separates them, what makes them special, what works best. We've talked with Shaquan Eli 2 weeks ago, where we talked about the Genius School, which was once a IPS innovation school, and then a charter school, and now a private school. And then last week, we talked with Dr. Michelle Britton-Watts from Edison School of the Arts, which is an IPS NLEA charter school. And now this week, we're going to introduce you to another group. It is a charter school that is also won a charter. So this is where it gets interesting. It is won a charter, but also an IPS innovation school, but not in the same way that Edison was. Everybody still with me? All right. To talk more about what these schools are from Purdue Polytechnic High School is Dr. Kiana Warren and Shy Holder. Both of them are here, as you can see, in our studio to tell us what is a charter school and what's going on at Purdue Polytech. Hello.
Hello. It's an honor to be here. Thank you for having us.
Thank you guys for coming on. Shy, how are you?
I'm great. Minus Notre Dame not being very good this year. I'm in a really good mood.
I'm sorry. It's been on the flip side, Colts are doing well.
Yes.
Off to a good start.
I'll take my wins where I can get
them. If you're a Fever fan, I mean, they're still in, but
you got to win.
Yes, you get to see Caitlin Clark, and I'm still recovering from the Pacers.
Yes.
That still hurts.
Yes. Fair.
All of those schools I know are big supporters of have visited some of your schools and different things. And so let's jump right into what is first Purdue Polytechnic High School. Is that Purdue University? What is that?
So that's such an incredible question. So we're Purdue Polytechnic High Schools. We're a network of 3 high schools. We have 2 locations in Indianapolis and 1 in South Bend. And the origin of Purdue Polytechnic High Schools is just a really beautiful story. The leaders at Purdue University understood the powerful education you can get from the university. And I say that with all the bias in the world as a proud Purdue grad. That's where I went for my undergraduate degree. And they wanted to make a pathway so that even more students could get to Purdue University. Now, Purdue, if you walk on the campus, they have beautiful diversity, but a lot of that diversity is out of state and out of country.
Okay.
And so what often happens is when people graduate, they go back out of state and out of country. And so that doesn't support the brain drain. And so one of the things we love about Purdue Polytechnic High School is we're creating a pathway for more students from the state of Indiana to be able to get to Purdue University and be successful and live out any dreams that they have for themselves. So ultimately, at Purdue Polytechnic High Schools, we give students access to their next giant leap. And the way we do that is with really great, rigorous academics. But most importantly, we create a very warm and supportive environment where students feel seen, that sense of belonging, and they feel like they can show up as their authentic selves and be loved and known. And both of those are really important for a high quality education.
Shy, it's my understanding that part of your job is to find said students and recruit them, bring them, show them to Purdue Polytech. What's one of the first things when people say, what is Purdue Polytechnic High School? You say it's
I think in our simplest form, I'd say we're creating the next generation of problem solvers. That's usually what I tell families, because a lot of people obviously are tied to Purdue. They think engineering, which is the most outstanding engineering school in the country. But at the same time, engineering to a 12-year-old kid or 13-year-old kid can be a scary word. But when you tell them, hey, it's problem solving, they seem to grasp it a little bit better. So the kids want and the parents want to make sure, as Dr. Warren said, they're not sacrificing academic rigor to kind of get these concentrations and all the special things we offer. And that's one of the things I'm really proud to talk about families, to talk with families about, is all the academic offerings that we have to offer, and you're not missing out on anything by choosing to come to a Purdue campus, a Purdue Polytechnic High School campus.
What does the word polytechnic actually mean?
It's a really great question. So it deals with the multifaceted. So the Polytechnic Institute, formerly known as the School of Technology at Purdue University. So you have your engineering technology, aviation management, various wonderful STEM degrees, management degrees. So it just is a plethora of educational pathways that you can take within the technical field. But we know that tech is the future. So every job will have some type of integration of technology. So we want to make sure, like Shai wonderfully talked about, we're preparing the next generation of problem solvers, and part of that is making sure they have the skills and tools to be those leaders.
So, in my introduction, I explained that Purdue Polytech is a charter school, but is also an IPS innovation school, but is not in the same way that Edison School is. Because you guys, Edison is what they call in LEA. Yes. You guys are out LEA.
Yes.
I've done my homework. But now explain this to people. What does that mean?
So we are a public charter school, which means we're free, public, and open to all. And we're so proud to be able to serve any student who comes in through our doors who resides in the state of Indiana. LEA stands for Local Education Agency. So basically, in LEA schools with IPS basically sit under the governance of that organization, and we have our own separate local education agency. We also have our own independent board of directors, and we have our own 501c3 that runs the organization. And so those are some of those differences. It's all about governance, but we still provide high quality education to all kids. And we are in partnership with IPS, and we're really grateful for the expanded opportunity that it allows us to engage with that community.
So we'll talk about that partnership here in a little bit. I'll circle back around to that. Purdue Polytech in Indianapolis, anyway, has two different campuses, one down on Washington Street, the Inglewood campus, and then at Broad Ripple Middle School. You guys are the high school portion of that building. What's the history of, because I know at one time things started in a much smaller location.
Yes. And I'm really proud of the story because I was the founding principal of Purdue Polytechnic High School, Broad Ripple. At the time it was called North. And we began in we call it the 1405 building. So it's a couple doors down from the high school. And we outgrew it within our first year. And so we were able to forge a beautiful partnership with IPS. And what was really wonderful about that is the community wanted a high school in the neighborhood. And so we were able to partner to provide a nice middle school through high school transition for that neighborhood and for the building.
Now it has grown into two campuses in Indianapolis, but then you also have South Bend.
Yes.
Why was there such growth?
That's a really good question. I think people are really excited about what we're doing relationship-wise, and that students are really experiencing success. Again, emphasizing the fact that our students get to become leaders from day one. They get a say in what happens. They get to build really strong relationships with the staff members. And a quick example of that is we don't call our teachers teachers, we call them coaches. And think about some of the best experiences. I played sports, the relationship that you have with a coach, where it's mentorship, it's walking alongside each other. It's not just someone who sits and lectures, but it's that true relationship of getting students to grow. And so I think that model has been really appealing to communities and families.
Shai, maybe this is an enrollment question. What's the difference, or is there a difference between the Inglewood campus and the Broad Ripple campus?
Anytime you're in two separate buildings, there are differences, but it's more like just personality. You know what I mean? Both rigorous in our academics, AP offerings, dual credit offerings, all those kind of things, project-based learning, hands-on opportunities. But obviously we're in locations that are, miles and miles apart. So I would say that, and to me, to be clear, I'm a graduate of Warren Central. I went to school with like 4,000 kids. Everything's a small school to me. But for some people or some families choosing, it's a difference between, 600 kids and, less than 300. You know what I mean? So That part is a bit different demographics wise. Obviously, when you have a larger school like Inglewood, they've got a really good football program right now. So those, small subtle differences, but at the core of it all, we believe that you can get an like elite academic education at any of the campuses. But there's little things here and there that make it a little different.
But as far as curriculum, same curriculum at both schools.
Yes, and we have at both locations, Broad Ripple and Inglewood, there are students that like walk to school because they're both in the middle of a neighborhood. So that's a little bit of a difference in personality as well.
What about things like sports? Do both schools offer the same sports?
Not the same sports, but there's a lot of overlap there. So a lot of people think that we compete together in sports, but we are separate in that regard. We are both full IHSA members, so we compete in the state tournaments and compete for sectional championships. Inglewood's won one already in girls basketball, elite program there. So the only thing at the Broad Ripple campus that is different with our smaller size is that we don't have 11-man tackle football.
Okay.
But other than that, the athletic offerings are pretty much similar at both campuses.
So really, if you were trying to figure out, do I want to go to Inglewood or do I want to go to Broad Ripple, the difference would be location or if you want to play football.
Yes and no. And in full disclosure, I am the varsity baseball coach at Broad Ripple. So if you want to play baseball, to Broad Ripple. But we're also, with our schools being different sizes, we're in different classifications. So Inglewood is a 3A school and Broad Ripple is a 1A school as far as IHSA goes. Okay,
here's a question that I think you're supposed to know off the top of your head.
Yeah.
What's the enrollment right now?
Right now? For which campus? Both. Now, I do not know the exact enrollment number for Inglewood.
Okay.
But for Broad Ripple, we're at 218 right now.
What's the goal? And is there room for more?
Oh, yeah, there's definitely room for growth. As far as long-term goes, I would defer to Dr. Warren on that. But I personally, and this is from a parent perspective, I appreciate the size of our school. Yeah. I have 2 children at the Broad Ripple campus.
Okay.
So, and one who came from private school. He was at Cecina as a freshman.
Okay.
And what I like about our school is it takes, because we're a Warren Township family, we still live there, but we commute. It took everything that he missed about public school and everything that he loved about private school and put it together. And that's really one of the reasons I love our campus.
Well, you come from a big class, a big school at Warren, and you've got a smaller environment now. Dr. Warren, what is the goal? Is the goal to be as big as Lawrence Central or Ben Davis, or is it to be a smaller environment school?
Great question. Yeah, so the goal of our schools is always to be a smaller environment so that we can always say that students are known, seen, and really valued for who they are. And it's more challenging to do that in a larger environment. I think Shai put it so well because what seems small is relative, but really that sweet spot that the research tells us to get the maximum value of course offerings in the student experience, but also get that relationship piece. It's somewhere between 250 and 800 students. So all of our schools would always stay within, the goal is to stay within those ranges to maximize both benefits.
Between 250 and 800
yes.
would be the goal for each individual school.
Staying within that range, because if your school's too small, you don't have athletics and things like that. And if it's too large, you start to lose that personal touch. So we looked at what the research told us, and that's how we created those ranges. So that doesn't mean that that Broad Ripple will be 800 one day, but that's kind of our overall network strategy.
Got you. So you guys are, let's talk about facilities, because when we're talking about sizes and things. Your Broad Ripple campus is in formerly Broad Ripple High School.
Yes.
Co-located with Broad Ripple Middle School.
Yes.
Then the Inglewood campus is in what I believe used to be a factory.
Yes, that's right. The PR Mallory building. Yes.
What has that been like, again, to go from the building that you began in Broad Ripple to now having to find locations to put your schools?
Yeah, so I think I'm really excited about some of the conversations that are happening locally, because I think facilities continue to be a challenge for various schools, regardless of the governance structure. And so we are very grateful to our IPS for that relationship and partnership, so we're able to co-locate in a place. And then we're also co-located our Inglewood campus with Paramount School of Excellence. So that's been a really nice partnership to be able to, and the majority of their 8th graders matriculate matriculate on and graduate from our school. So we feel really great about that. As far as the experiences with the specific buildings, I would probably defer to Shai a little bit more about that, but
What's that been
we are
like?
grateful to partnership.
It's been great. I think when I'm able to go out and meet potential families and whatnot, I've heard so many times I graduated from Bob High School, and there's a sense of pride there,
I love that.
and they want to send their kids back to the building, even though it is not necessarily the same school that they came from. They know the area, they know the history of it, and that partnered along with our programming makes it really cool. And with us being an innovation school, obviously we know the renovations and the upgrades IPS has made to a lot of the facilities that we have access to, and we're very grateful for that. Our soccer team gets to play on turf every game for home games, full weight room there for our athletes and for our students. And facilities, I think, is one of the areas where, even for me, this is actually my second opportunity to be co-located with an IPS middle school.
Okay.
As someone who came from a township school, you have this thing in your head where people told you what to think about IPS, but then you actually get there in the building, you're like, oh, this is so much more than what people say. So even whether it be Broad Ripple or...
In what way?
They have everything there was nothing that we had at Warren Central when I was there that wasn't available not available to our kids. Have a weight room, have broadcasting space. I remember there's a planetarium in Broad Ripple Middle School.
Okay.
I don't know if it's still active, but it's everything you could have, everything that you could need. We have access to.
I know I've been in some, IPS is where everything started. That's the center of the city. So naturally the buildings are going to be older
That's right.
than the townships. That's where we then expanded to. And I think people have a image, because we also see the other townships adding on to their schools or adding new buildings. So they're naturally newer. So I think people think that the buildings like Broad Ripple haven't been touched in years and that the insides look like they still looked in the 80s. Is that true?
Well, here's the thing about this is the way that I like to think about it. No one says those things about private schools. They have been standing just as long, or not longer, than the buildings that we occupy in the buildings that IPS runs. No one said, we talked about Notre Dame football before we came on the air here. No one says it about Notre Dame. I go down to that campus once a year, and that's part of the sell of it, the nostalgia that they have it. So I'm not concerned with the age of our facilities. They have an amazing staff there that helps us with the things we need. We ask for something, they help us get it done. And as I said, I've got 2 kids in the building, so it's very important to me, facilities, because I have one student who's going to be a college athlete. So I wouldn't send them to a place that wasn't legit.
Right.
Yeah.
Since you're co-locating in 2 locations with 2 different schools, 2 different types, what are the benefits of co-locating?
There are, one of the biggest benefits is it gives families access to more grade level spans. And so parents love the fact that they can drop their middle schooler off and their high schooler off in the same location. But I want to be very clear. We keep both schools separate. So that's really important. And then there's an opportunity to share some of the services, whether that be food services, janitorial, and anytime we can be more efficient with funding, we love that.
Is it, when you have to keep the kids separate, is it like over at in Perry Township where I went, we had the 6th grade academy, which is attached to the middle school, and from the outside it looks like it's all one big building, but it's actually divided with doors. Like you go literally from one building to the other. What's the setup like in your guys' places?
That's almost exactly what you just described. So same address, but I always tell kids and families on tours, like, we can't really go over there and they can't really come over here unless we arrange that ahead of time. We do partner on some different things, but there's no like risk of students like getting lost and wandering into a space which they shouldn't be in.
Right. Is that so if we just stick with the Perry Meridian 6th grade academy example, we had the 6th grade academy had its own gym, had its own cafeteria. Is that the case?
We have our own gym and we have our own cafeteria
Okay.
at PPHS Broad Ripple. So I will say with athletics, that is the most common shared space, but our seasons do differ from the middle school there. Like they'll play football in the spring and soccer in the spring. We're playing soccer right now, so that's not a conflict. But we have our own cafeteria. They have their own gym for their gym classes throughout the day, and we have our own gym for our gym classes throughout the day. But outside of that, during like extracurricular time, we arrange that in concert and use it whichever way we feel is necessary.
And as you said, Dr. Warren, that's a opportunity. If you have a 7th grader, they can go to Broad Ripple Middle School. But if they have a 10th grader, they can go to the same physical address, but go through a different door.
Yes.
And now they're at Purdue Polytechnic High School.
Correct.
How do the schools start and end at the same time?
Not exactly the same time, but I'll let.
Yeah, it is. It's staggered a bit, which is logistically, it's better that way for all of us since we both have our own transportation and whatnot. So our start time, our doors open at 8 a.m. at the Broad Ripple location. Classes start at 8:20. Students from Broad Ripple Middle School don't start their day until about 8:45.
What? And then what's the time? What's the time difference in the afternoon?
We're looking at 3:35 dismissal at the high school and 4 o'clock at the middle school.
So if a parent, I suppose if whoever gets out early, I guess the parent would just wait, get the first kid, and then just wait until second bell rings for the.
It's actually perfect because then you have the older sibling that goes and make sure everything's good with the younger sibling. And, we see it every day. It's actually one of the things that makes our coaches, our teachers at our school excited because they know that they have, so-and-so's little brother or sister coming soon. And those relationships can be cultivated a lot earlier, and they get really excited about being able to come to our building eventually.
What are the challenges? Because the whole thing, it sounds like it works, but that's a puzzle to put together of, okay, you're going to take the gym at this time, then we're going to take the gym. Like, how does all that?
And I think that the key challenge is, and this is for any across the board, any co-locations, because they happen a lot, especially in cities like New York, LA, where there's not a lot of real estate. There's a lot of sharing that happens, and just making sure that you have strong logistics, strong communication. But what makes that work is at the end of the day, we are all student centered, and we don't. We try in every decision we make, what is best for the students and the families. And that is our North Star, really helps us work through those challenges.
How far out do you have to plan for that kind of logistical thing? Like, we're in September. Are you already trying to figure out next year? Like, how does that work?
You plan out as far in advance as possible, and so we actually were opened a year. We're doing complete operations in the high school. In Broad Ripple campus a year before the middle school opened, and so a year leading up to them opening, we were meeting regularly to plan for it. So it's really that pre-planning that happened before the middle school opened, and then regular touch points moving forward. But the further in advance you can plan things out, especially the logistics around athletics and or whatever services are provided, the better. And then you also have to be in like constant communication and have grace for each other.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because I'm sure there'll be times where it's like, hey, we've got this going on. Can we borrow this for a little bit for a day? We got the logistics.
Yes.
Which is why all this is coming up in conversations at this thing called the IPS-ILEA. These meetings that are happening every month for both charters and IPS to figure out how they can kind of do what you're doing and co-locate, use spaces efficiently, or purchase buildings, sell buildings, what have you. First, at the previous ILEA meeting, you were there.
Yes.
And you spoke. Tell everybody what you told the ILEA or why you were there. And then we'll go from there.
So PPHS has a unique partnership in the sense that we have one building in Indianapolis that is not co-located in an IPS building or is not located in an IPS building, and then we have one that is.
Mhm.
So they wanted to hear from from our perspective, what are the benefits and the challenges of both. So I got an opportunity to share,
Mhm.
and it's basically the same things that we talked
Mhm.
about. Just here where there's benefits, and then there's some challenges that come with getting the logistics
Mhm.
together.
Did you get the sense from this board of ILEA people that they understood what you were talking about? And I say that not to be disrespectful or anything, but this is a lot to take in for anybody who's not involved in it every day. And there are people they've been charged with making some decisions. Do they get what is in front of them? It's a big task.
It's a really big task and not a lot of time to get that recommendation done. But what I really appreciate about the team involved with this is they were very engaged. They asked very good questions, and it was clear that they had done pre-work in the research. So I think they really are getting an understanding of things. I also appreciate that the meetings have been public and that they've had public comment. I think historically that's been a miss, is engaging the community. So I'm glad that was the center of it. But yes, I do think they're really wrapping their arms around this issue.
Well, I've gone to all of the ILEA meetings, sitting in the audience, except this last one when you got to speak. So I'm sorry I missed that. But then the next day on Facebook, there were all these things. I'm like, wait, what's going on? What did I miss at these meetings that are, I mean, for the most part, it's a meeting, not that exciting.
Right.
But then people were saying, well, there was a little fireworks last night because people were saying Purdue Polytech is closing. What's the deal with that? Because from my understanding, that's not true.
That is not true. And what can happen oftentimes on social media, unfortunately, and we often talk to our students about being able to look at reliable sources and things like that. So it was a good opportunity to give real-time lessons, but it was just incorrect information that got on social media. Our authorizers were able to dispel that, as well as our leadership. So it isn't true.
Was that something you even said, or
No, it's not. I really can't speculate on what made folks think that, but it wasn't related to anything I said. I didn't say anything about closing, nor have we ever.
Yeah, that one threw people for a little bit of a loop.
Me as well, but I'm glad we had the opportunity to dispel the rumor.
So, what? If I can ask you some more about the ILEA process, why did all the schools, there's a zillion of them in Marion County, why did they say, let's get Dr. Warren in here so she could explain?
We have a reputation for being partners that come to the table and collaborate and center students on the decisions. And then the unique nature of we have the dual perspective of one school that's in an IPS building and one that's not. And so we had the opportunity to really compare and contrast in a way that others are not able to.
What do you think the future is? I mean, all these school types and arrangements, everything is so unique. Some people want to buy a building, then you can buy a building for $1. There's all the things. What do you think the future is?
My hope for the future is that it's a more collaborative environment where all students get access to a high quality education in a building that is as beautiful as the students are. Too often, we get in situations where students, especially from certain zip codes, don't have access to beautiful buildings. And I think, to me, that's a civil rights issue. And so my hope is that we look at the data, collaborate, and just continue to center on what happens to kids. And I'm a forever optimist. I believe that's the direction we're going in.
So I meant to pull up the screenshots of I look at what people say in the comments under articles about charter schools and things, because I want to understand what people think. And one of the things I see is, there's the charter schools again, they're mooching. And they're stealing from IPS, or they don't want to pay rent, or all the things. Are these? I mean, like, again, every arrangement is different, but when you see those comments, what do you want people to know?
I want people to know that we're proud partners of IPS, and our perspective is when our kids win, all kids win, because our kids are IPS kids.
Yes, they are.
And I think it's really important to know that we are just part of the system. And the way funding works is somewhat complex, but the dollars follow the child. So it's not like charter schools are taking away funding from the district, but there is funding that comes along with being able to serve students.
So when I was talking with Dr. Watts, who again is an IPS NLEA school, she talked about funding and how it goes, in her case, goes to IPS first and then is passed down her direction. Since you're an out LEA, I guess we should explain what that means as well. But then also, how's that funding structure work?
So our funding structure works the same. Our funding goes to IPS and then it's distributed to us. So it's actually the same way.
Okay.
Yep.
As an out LEA, that just means you have more autonomy.
That's a good question. The autonomy is really similar. It's really just like the governance structure, and from a DOE perspective, they're if you think of an LEA as one district, they're just part of that same structure, but it doesn't necessarily mean they have less autonomy, because they also have an independent board who gets to make decisions. There are some differences on how some of the federal funding gets allocated. And with our own LEA, we're able to apply for our own grant funding and things like that separately. But there's really not a big difference in the amount of autonomy that comes. It's really just a choice in governance structure. And then the other piece is when you're your own LEA, you have your own charter. And so we hold our own charter that, to give some history too, PPHS Broad Ripple, when it was first opened, was not an innovation school. We joined the innovation. We became an innovation school later. So we have a separate charter in our own school that can run independently if we were not an innovation school.
Right. If you chose not to be an IPS innovation school, you would still be Purdue Polytech.
Correct. Yes.
Open, doing your own thing.
Yes.
But I guess now people say, so then what's the point of being an innovation school? There's relationships and benefits that go both ways. And I'll start with the first one, is that, as you mentioned a moment ago, Purdue Polytech students are IPS students.
Yes.
Your school's enrollment counts as part of the district's enrollment.
Yes.
So that's the benefit for the IPS district.
Yes. Oh, and I would say even more important than our enrollment, our results count as their results. And if you are familiar, you know that our schools are some of the top in the district, with Broad Ripple having really impressive outcomes, as well as Inglewood. So our results count as there as well.
I saw that. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So just to compare, so when I was explaining with Dr. Watts, she was like, so there are things that we have to pay IPS for, be it phone service or what are these things? How does that work? Because I suppose that's income for IPS, but it's providing a service to you.
Yeah, I would say it's more they're providing a service. And so they have a menu of services that they can offer. And each year we collaborate together and say, what are the offerings that make sense and what are the ones that we need? And it's individualized for each school.
And you can pick ones that you want.
We can pick the ones we want. That's
and the
right.
ones you don't want.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
So I believe you have, I think when you're in LEA, there are some things that you are required to take.
Yes. Yes, that is correct.
But that's the difference between being out. Is there something you can say, we don't need that, we can do that in-house, or we already have that?
That's right. That's exactly it.
There was something that just popped into my head that I was going to ask as far as facilities. I don't know. It'll come back to me. So these are all the things that people are trying to understand with the ILEA is what are the benefits, right?
Yes.
Another thing I keep seeing is people say that the charter schools are private schools because they can turn away students and they don't take special needs students.
So I saw
shaking
his head. Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Yes.
And I think it's important. I'm going to backtrack a little bit here because I was part of a big township and worked in a township school. I was an enemy of charters because I knew nothing else but what I was told. So I think a lot of people are in the same boat. And once I got into a charter school, I realized this is great. There's autonomy here. There's bureaucracy's not getting in the way. Red tape's not getting in the way. We are a public school, and any student who wants to be at our school, the same way that they could go to a township school or a traditional IPS school, they have the right to do so. And as far as special education students are exceptional learners, I have an exceptional learner. He's a freshman, and we have the best staff that he's ever had, in my opinion.
I
So,
love that.
yeah, those are definitely some misconceptions, and unfortunately, probably not accidental. I think a lot of the things that we see, and I try not to read the comments on social media. You're a better man than me.
No, I selectively read them.
Yes, a lot of things. There's a lot of purposeful misinformation, I think, put out there. But it's great to have dialogue like this because we can come in and kind of clear those things up and let people know, what we really are and what we stand for.
And I love what you said there about our teachers and our staff, because they're just incredible, and just the heart they have for this work is just, I could talk about them for days, but also the data backs it up. If you look at our the outcomes for our special education students, it's incredible compared to the state average. And we numbers can fluctuate from year to year, but we tend to serve a higher percentage of across our network of special education students than you see in the state average. So not only is that not true, but we're attracting students with disabilities because good news travels. We serve students well.
Now, Shai, you kind of hinted at something when you were talking about charter schools and the misconceptions, and that some of this could have been on purpose. I think it may have been that there were some charter schools at some time that probably tried to push away some special education students, and because that had to come from somewhere. Do you think that was something somewhere along the lines from some school somewhere?
I can't speak for what other schools have done. I just know what we do, and we are very excited to get any student. I think that's one of the great things about charter schools. I was at an event last week with a lot of other private schools, with a lot of private schools. And we were one of 3 public schools at this event. And some of the parents who didn't know much about charters got to asking me some questions. And one of the things that I explained to them as a parent who had a kid who was in private school is a lot of the times private schools will ask a family, like, what can you do for us? But what we're asking as a charter school is, what can we do for you? Like, we're going to meet you where you are and get you to where you need to be. It's not about what test score can you bring us, what athletics can you help us shine in. We're really trying to reach the whole child to make the child whole. That's what we're trying to do.
And that's important to point out, because that is what private schools can do. It is it is an admission. I can choose you if I want you. Who's your dad? What board is he on? Where's your mom work? What can you bring to the school? And you got money or you don't, and we can say, come on in or goodbye. To be clear, you guys, if you do that, what happens?
So many things could happen. It's against the law. So lawsuit, and that is a reason that a school could get shut down for violating student civil rights. Absolutely.
Is there, and maybe this is a thing that maybe some charter schools should do a better job of doing, which is what you're doing now, and explain that we do have special education, exceptional students, as you guys call them in your program. And because I've heard that from parents who, not even in a malicious way, just don't think that you as a charter school have the resources that Warren Township would have to take care of the special needs of the student. If someone comes to you and they have a student of whatever special need, what is the next step? I take it it'd be to figure out, okay, if it's something that you don't have, do you figure out how to get it?
That's a really great question. So we enroll all students regardless. And then we get their individualized education plan from the sending school. And I'm just so incredibly proud of our staff who just, within 10 days, get the initial case conference, and then we work with the case conference committee, which includes the family, oftentimes in high school includes the student. And then we talk about what are the goals that you have for the student for themselves, what are the goals that parents have, and then we work through how to get them the resources. But you're absolutely right about we, like Shai said, it's not about what can you do for us, it's what can we do for you. And so we move mountains, we figure out a way to serve students well and make sure, because part of it too is we want to make sure that not only are we serving students well, but we want satisfied parents who will continue to choose us day after day. And so we find a way to serve students.
So do you still have room for more students this year at either campus?
We do have more room for students at our Broad Ripple campus. And we're pretty much at capacity with our Inglewood campus, but
That's
definitely, good. Yes, very exciting. And so, yes, we do have spots available in Broad Ripple.
Shai, so if someone wants, can you get a tour? Is there a video?
Absolutely,
what do you got?
Absolutely. So if you go to our website, pphs.purdue.edu, you can see all of our campuses there, but you can also go to our Broad Ripple campus, schedule a tour. My email's on there. Shadow days are usually something we open up second semester. But I love to see as many new faces and families on campus as possible. And usually when they come on campus, they love what they see. So that's one of the things that we're able to do for sure. It's not a going into it blind and buying something that you don't know.
Right.
Back when I was going to high school, I was like,
you're
going here.
This is
You've
your
never seen.
school.
Luckily, I had an older brother, and I was like around the football team all the time. But I couldn't imagine going into a school flying blind and not knowing what you're going to get. So, shadow days, family tours, family nights, all those kind of things are things that we're happy to host.
Now at Inglewood, so if I live near there, but I want to go because I live there, when do you, because I know there's the whole Enroll Indy thing and all that. Am I at this point, am I looking at getting in next year?
So the way Enroll Indy works, you can go to the website and you can see if there's a spot available in your grade level. And what I love about Enroll Indy is that it ensures equity across the board so that students have equal access to seats, which has been an improvement over time. So just like Shai said, you go to the website, click Enroll Now, and you can see which grade levels still have seats left.
Does that mean, I know the answer to this, but does that mean when you were talking about having 250 to 850 kids in a building, does that mean that there's 850 kids at Inglewood?
No, there's not even room for 800 kids. And so at Inglewood, the enrollment is 620 right now.
Okay.
So
big.
It's big. And there's more demand there too, which is really exciting.
What do you do about that? So if you have demand, do you start sending, hey, we've got this up at Broad Ripple, go up there? Or do you open up Purdue Polytech Irvington or something?
Oh, I love all of those are possibilities. We definitely want to, and what I love about what Shai said, we are very community centered, and we know that each school has a unique community. I love how you said that, personality. So it might be a good option for them to head up to Broad Ripple, but we also look for opportunities because we want to be able to serve every student. Like Shai said, we love that. It's our honor, it's our privilege. So we're looking for more ways to serve more people on the east side.
Now, IPS is asked, at least for this year, during that ILEA period, to put a moratorium on new schools. Do you think, are there too many schools? Is that such thing to have too many schools in one area? And are we there?
That's why I love the work of the ILEA, because we can do the research and really figure out what is the demand, how many high quality seats do we have? And notice I said high quality seats, not just seats. And so, I don't think that we have too many high quality seats in the city, but I do think it's important to look at it and make sure that the community is happy with what's going with the number of seats that we have, and that the community is involved in that conversation, and that we're looking at real data. Because the last ILEA meeting, the question was asked, well, what is our true capacity? And people couldn't agree on the denominator, and so there's more research and work that needs to be done. And so I will continue. My answer is we need high quality seats, and until 100% high quality seats are there, we need to continue to collaborate and work together.
Is it Because I mean, at the end of the day, whether it's an IPS Innovation or LEA, or if it's Warren Township or Franklin Township, all schools are competing to get students to come. Has the market become saturated to where it's hard to now? Doesn't sound like it's the issue at Inglewood anyway, but is it to a point to where there's more seats than there are kids?
And that's the question that hasn't been answered really, because we don't know how many seats actually exist.
Right.
And just to nerd out a little bit, even on Enroll Indy, the number of seats that you say are there actually higher than actually exist and what your school can actually handle. So before I would really comfortably answer that question, I'd want to know what is the true capacity and how many kids are actually within the system. And once we have that number, I'd feel more comfortable answering the question. But I do think it's such an important conversation to have and metric to look at, because we want to be really responsible with the opportunity we have to serve students, and we want to make sure that we're getting to as full capacity as the buildings that have more capacity. We want to make sure that we're really maximizing the efficiency. So it's a good question, but I just don't think we have the data to know yet.
There's, as I sat in some of those ILEA meetings, there was a lot of questions about buildings, and at the start of it, they didn't know there is no list.
Right.
What are the schools in this boundary, or the ones that are just outside the boundary? But
right. I was actually surprised to know, and so that's why I love that we're coming together to talk about this, because this is really important.
Is there a voice? And this is what I asked the other schools that were here. For IPS, traditional, and ILEA schools, Dr. Johnson is the spokesperson, the voice of this is what this group of schools needs. Private schools kind of do their own thing behind their doors and all that. But is there a Dr. Johnson of charter school world?
I don't think that there is, but what is beautiful is we have several wonderful leaders who lead good charter single sites and networks, and we do come together to talk and collaborate. But there's not just one spokesperson for us, which is, I think, if there were, that would take away the autonomy that we have to do best for our community. So in a way, I'm glad that we come together and collaborate and on best practices and how to serve students well. But the fact that we don't have one person speaking for us, I think actually helps us to serve our individual communities really well.
And while there's multiples of you, is someone listening to you?
Oh, that's a great question. I feel like I have opportunities to speak to those folks who are in decision-making seats. We have a great relationship with Dr. Johnson. I really enjoy working with her, and so I think through this ILEA process, there's even more opportunities to come with communicating and speaking our voice. But again, I think the students and the family voices need to be elevated more. I think that needs to happen too.
Okay. I wonder how we do that in that short amount of time.
It is short, isn't it?
It is a very short amount of time. Well, I know that they can come get a face-to-face with you all at school.
Absolutely.
Shai, tell everybody as we get ready to wrap up here, where to find you all.
So as most people, they have a cell phone in their hand at almost all times. So social media is a good place to start. All of our links are there. So if you go to PPHS Broad Ripple on like Instagram or Facebook, or PPHS Inglewood, the same locations, that's a good starting point. But also pphs.purdue.edu.
Okay.
All the information you could possibly need there. And please don't hesitate to reach out to myself or my counterpart at the Inglewood campus, Donald Baker. That's literally what we're there for. We're there to help families. So.
Okay. And I remember the question that I blanked out on. Is there a future? Could we ever see a Purdue Polytechnic elementary or middle school?
That is not in the, there's always a possibility.
Always a
I never
possibility.
say no to an opportunity to serve more students.
But that's not what the plan is right now.
It's not happening next year,
okay.
But it could happen in the future.
Okay, we won't rule it out.
We will not rule it out.
Okay. Dr. Warren, Shai, thank you guys so much for coming in and explaining. I learned a lot, especially about the processes with special education students and how all that works, because, again, I just haven't heard anybody explain it. I just hear people say, no, that's not a thing. They don't take those kids. So thank you for explaining and opening the door for us so we can find out a little bit more of what you have going on in charter school world and at PPHS. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
That's going to do it for this edition of Fox 59 Tonight. I'll talk to you on Sunday morning on my radio show on Open Lines on 106.7 WTLC and Hot 100.9, where you get to be part of that conversation when you call into our live line, and then we'll keep chatting right here on Fox 59 Now. For now, I'm Cameron Riddle. Good night.